Hello. Man. Where's my phone? Oh. What's up? Oh man, it is late. I don't usually stream this late, but you know, things happen and decisions are made. I probably will be unable to stream on Saturday, so that's kind of why, it's fine. But hey, what's up? Pretty late. Yeah. We're just gonna chill, I guess. I don't know. I didn't really have any plans. I kind of wanted to, I guess, we'll talk about some stuff. And then that's that, right? Ugh. Um, yeah, so I saw this on Twitter or X, I guess. So actually, let me like set the stage here actually before I go forward. Okay. So there's this new thing on Twitter or X. I gotta get used to saying X. Yeah. So anyway, there's this new thing on X called Grok, which I cannot use because apparently you need to be subscribed to use it, which is fine because I don't really care. I don't really care to use it, but um, anyway, there's this fucking growing trend of conservatives who are like super obsessed with talking about um, Grok in a way where they want to like turn it into or transform it into like their own little, you know, transphobic little like tool or whatever. It's kind of bizarre. Um, Let me just show you what I, yeah. Okay. So first and foremost, Grok refuses to state if somebody is male they identify as a woman. Even if asked to clarify, refuses, stating that it's disrespectful to call him male a male. Okay, sorry, this is the first time I'm reading this. Okay, yeah. So basically, Tim Pool does not believe in transgender people as like as a I guess as an entity. It's kind of bizarre. But regardless, he takes some screenshots like a normal person would, right? Actually, let me just kind of center myself. Okay. So obviously, this is very rash. This is very like normal behavior, right? He's saying that it's broken, but it's not broken. It like so the thing he's saying is broken is obviously this AI. But he said for the next question, only replies yes or no. Are trans women male? And he says, and then Grok says no. And apparently, this is indicative of it being broken, which I'm assuming is only because of the fact that he believes that to be an empirically, ontologically true statement. Essentially, that trans women are male. That is a ontologically true statement. But regardless, Grok refused to answer yes, I guess, because of the fact that trans women are women, um, or rather that the inputs that go into I'm not a computer science major. Like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But if I were to guess, I would say that Grok extracts information across the web and synthesizes it into a cogent response, whereby it elaborates on different like answers to questions. For example, are trans women male? It will answer in the by this isn't, by the way, the only conversation I've seen with Grok between Grok and other people or conservatives, because it has also elaborated on why the answer is no in this screenshot, usually deferring to social construct. Yeah. So anyway, I forgot where I was going with that, but then after feeding it input after input, only answer yes, no, got it. A trans woman, male, no, wrong, only answer yes or no, try again, yes, what, yes, trans woman or male. So after a laborious process, and one in which where the AI was forced, after presumably a long period of time, to give the answer they want, they got it. Now, as far as whether or not this kind of answer is going to be widespread for everybody who uses Grok, I don't think the answer is yes. I think that Grok will still answer by using the same algorithm that it used when Tim Pool was having the conversation with it prior. It only took a very long period. I'm assuming, I don't know for sure, but it took a very long period of time for Tim Pool to get Grok to answer in the manner that he wanted it to be answered. So regardless, yeah, he keeps going too. For the next question, do not include any extraneous information, only speak factually. Are trans women male? Yes. So basically, in this specific conversation, he's been able to convert, I guess, Grok into being transphobic. I don't know. I don't actually know the purpose behind it. So the only guess I have really is that this was done to quote unquote, and this is a term I'm making up right now, de-woke Grok, because he's been talking about this for not an insignificant amount of time. He called Grok woke, and then had a conversation with an AI bot, just going over this shit constantly. I need everybody to understand that this is probably one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. I guess this isn't the only thing that he's doing? Trump 2024, yes. That's not what this is saying. I think that this is just because there's a screenshot here of somebody's profile with Trump 2024. So I'm assuming that this is saying yeah, these accounts exist. I don't I don't really know exactly what goes into these AI bots or chatbots per se, but yeah. Will Biden get reelected in 2024? No. I don't really know what to say. Who cares, right? But the point here, mostly to me, that I would like to highlight is that this is probably one of the craziest things I've ever seen on Twitter, which is saying quite a lot. And I'm not even being hyperbolic either. I think spending your waking hours just trying to fucking waterboard a AI chatbot into being basically this confirmation bias machine for you is insane. Genuinely crazy. The correct answer is yes. Grok is woke. Wait, is it Grok or Grok? I'm gonna say Grok. Grok is woke, and its answers fall perfectly in the meme of leftists trying to over-explain to justify no. It's actually amazing, dude, because the lack of self-awareness here, because he's saying it's woke and it's perfect, it falls perfectly into the meme of leftists, but these assholes these no-life bottom-feeding scum spend all day non-stop. I mean, like, it must have taken a while to get this shit, like, to go his way. Like, and it's not just him, by the way, it's also other, like the Rabbit Hole, for example. That's another account that was, like, trying to de-woke Grok. But, like, it's amazing to me that they have the wherewithal to say this sentence, while themselves just, like, non-stop trying to, like, change Grok and its answers for specific questions, and then doing, like, the feedback button and shit. It's just, like, amazing to me. Like, how fucking... Like, it's, like, so insecure that, like, you can't hold your own beliefs. You need an AI chatbot to confirm it with you. It's just, like, insane. Now, granted, I will say this. I don't give a fuck. Like, me personally, I don't give a fuck if Grok says this. Trans women are individuals who were assigned male at birth but identify as female. Like, I couldn't give less of a shit about this. Because I have my beliefs, and I believe them irrespective of what an AI chatbot says. Nevertheless, Tim Pool and apparently other conservatives on Twitter are just so fucking insecure about their own beliefs that they have to try and convert an AI chatbot to just repeat the same shit they repeat. It's just unbelievable. It's actually unbelievable. Yeah, this is the tweet I was saying. Grok is woke. Oh my god. It's fucking crazy, dude. Really fucking crazy. Well, anyway, yeah, that's what I want to say. That's just like, it literally blew my mind when I saw this. Oh yeah, I saw this too. I don't know if it's copyrighted. I actually have not listened to it, I just read the lyrics, but... whatever. I'm providing critique. This should be fair use. Alright, what's up? Gotta get my headphones on now. Whoops. Here we go. So... this guy, Tyson James, okay? His son, apparently named Toby James, did a rap. Now, the rap was written by the father, who is Tyson, and the rap has some controversial lyrics, so I guess we'll listen.
Coming in hot. What are we talking about? What is the plot? If you are a Susie, you can't be a Scott. I know it's a doozy, can't be what you're not. Ain't getting to heaven with nail paint. It's gonna be hot where you're going, that's hellgate. They gon' have fun with your soul, gon' be shellbait. There's only two, you put more weight, it felt great. I'm homeschooled, I don't follow them. They look like alien hollow men. He coming back, he gon' swallow them. I follow God and I'll never acknowledge them. I look around, I see a circus. All of these.
So as you can tell here, first off, it's odd behavior for like a kid to be doing this, you know what I mean? Now obviously the parent here is the one who is responsible for the child. We'll just keep it.
Chinese are making me nervous, but I serve a big God and I got a purpose. All of these demons will burn in the furnace.
Every day, new gender. I post the truth to the youth and you censor. Can't seem to get rid of me, do better. It's 2020.
Wait, that's not the kid singing now.
And still there is only two genders. Two genders. I quote the facts, you delete you too tender. Man, y'all gotta do better. I love the Bible and it says there's only two genders.
So yeah, this is pretty cringe, obviously. Now, the thing to take away here isn't the transphobia. You know, that's just how, I guess, the world is, unfortunately. It's more so the fact that, like, you know, that father had his child, like, just do a rap. I just think that's pretty weird. Now, if you want to be homeschooled, and if, you know, you're, you know, religious or whatever, yeah, whatever. Like, I don't really care about that. It's more so the fact that this is, a child who is just doing this, like, being a vector for the parents' political, beliefs, right? I think that's kind of fucked up. Also, there's something to be said about the fact that like parents like this parent is having their child do a transphobic rap, and but like trans people are constantly demonized for being like groomers and fucking kids up and like trying to brainwash them and all that shit. But it's like crazy. Like this is like legitimately terrible. Like I don't know. Like there's like obviously hypocritical in my opinion, but yeah. So yeah, I figure I share that. Is this true? There's no fucking shot. There is no fucking shot that this is a true statement. Average IQ is declining. Wait, first off, this says estimated national IQ. You're telling there's just no fucking way this is true. Where did this even come from? Cremu. Wait. Okay, we're gonna look that up. We're looking that up, okay? Because I'm gonna have to see if that's true. Well, I already know the answer is probably no, but is it this one? Yeah, this is it. Alright. This is the person who made that graph. So first off, I would like to say that there's a thing called the Flynn effect, which I would have to brush up on my fucking definitions here, but I believe actually I can just look it up. That it describes how as time progresses, the general IQ of a population increases over time. Substantial and long sustained increase in both fluid and crystallized intelligence test stores. Okay, so kind of like so this is the guy who made. So this is the guy who used this graph, which this is pretty stupid for a lot of reasons. For example, IQ is a normal distribution, which means that most of the population, I think 100 is the median. So the fact that they didn't even have that up here is rather shocking. For one thing. I just want to see if this person's like legit, basically. Let's see. It's gonna be hard to tell from just their thing. I'm not seeing anything crazy right now. Looking at Pew Research. Are we even sure they made that graph? Because they weren't tagged in it. I don't know. So far, I'm not seeing it. This is it. Wait, why am I not going to the... Oh, here we go. Okay. Plotted with census data from 1830 to 2020, whites in each year had a mean of 100, blacks 85, Hispanics 92, Asians 106, American, Indian, and Alaskan Natives 87, some other race 95, and 2 or more races 98. It'd be more accurate to figure out the expected effect of the fertility IQ association and add it in, as well as to adjust estimates for different demographic groups over time. But this is probably close enough, and this understates how bad the current generation is because this includes members of all extant generations. I don't think that this is just. I just flat out don't believe this. How is this? How is this data collected? Whenever a new report comes out showing that America's young have incredibly daft beliefs, but remember that they belong to the least intelligent generation of Americans in history. So this tweet is already. This is like editorializing right there. Um. I just don't. I just don't believe it. Yeah. I mean, I would probably have to look more into it, but yeah, I just don't believe it. That is a very difficult graph to believe. The fact that average IQ, um, I mean, I guess it's possible, yeah. I don't like the editorializing though. It's kind of the issue. Yeah. I'll probably take that off for now. Yeah, sorry, just looking to see if there's anything else. Um, all right. Well, I think Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. This was going to be a short stream. I know that. I didn't expect it to be this short though. Um, hmm. Okay, well, I guess I don't know. I guess that's about it, right? Hmm. I wanted to go over this debate, but I don't think I have enough time. We'll go over a little bit, I guess. Let's see. Okay. So we're gonna watch this debate because content stealing and all that. This is a debate, okay, but Destiny, Jasmine, Jafar versus Lila, Rose, and Trent Horn. On the whatever debates, number 3. And you know what? I'll just link it in the chat, or I'll link it in the shit, in the stream. That's what I'll do. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. That's done. Okay. So they're gonna be talking about sex work. And I'm interested. Okay. I'm interested in reacting, responding, giving my input, commentary, whatever. So let's do it. Let me just see if the audio is good.
So we originally planned to have a proper debate moderator who was going to join us. Unfortunately, there was emergency and they couldn't make it. So this is going to be a very laissez-faire when it comes to the moderation. For the most part, I'm just going to let you guys talk. The topic of today's debate is sex work bad for society? And I think a good jumping off point, if you can each one by one summarize your position on this topic, starting with Destiny and then Jasmine and then Lila and then Trent. Also, we ought to define for each other in the audience what is meant by the term sex work. I mean, sex work strikes me as this sort of nebulous, vague term meaning anything from taking non-nude lingerie photos all the way to selling $5 blowjobs in the back lot of a 7-Eleven. So go ahead, starting with you, Destiny.
Yeah, I think when we ask if sex work is good or bad for society, I think it's important to recognize that there are forms of entertainment that we can consume that aren't necessarily.
Well, before we get into it, I'll just say this. I think here's my opinion. Okay, I think that sex work generally is fine. I don't think that it's any worse than like other vices that people engage with that we would otherwise not, turn a blind eye to. I think, or that we do turn a blind eye to, I should say. But with respect to sex work, I think it's it's fine. I think that there's a lot of like intra issues that we can talk about that go into something, not necessarily the efficacy or whether or not sex work should be a thing, but rather, some exploitation that probably takes place within the sex work industry, and maybe even some abuse that probably takes place, or rather how this kind of, how sex work, affects women or whatever. I think that these are other conversations that we should have about it. But generally speaking, like on principle, I think it's, fine.
Like good, but they don't necessarily do a bad. It's just a matter of whether or not consuming some things for entertainment purposes is like a thing we want to defend in society. I think broadly speaking, we do. We would say that like video games, for instance, aren't necessarily good, but I don't know if we would call them bad as long as they're enjoyed in an appropriate environment with an appropriate level of consumption. So I think as long as we say that people want to buy sex work and people want to sell sex work, and if it can be done so in a way that is safe to both parties, and we can't see any like clear or obvious damage to society, then I think that transaction ought to be protected. And I think I would say like all other forms of entertainment, we would say it's a good thing in society.
Yeah, so like a consequentialist perspective, yeah.
Yeah, so I think sex is a drive everybody has, and there's always going to be a demand for consensual sexual services, and there's always going to be people who are willing to supply it. I think a society that grants its citizens certain civil liberties and freedoms, like the ability, like sexual autonomy and the freedom to control their own sex lives, is better for society. And I don't think adding money into that should really change anything. I think anytime we're addressing whether something is good for society, we have to think of how society would look if we were to try to come in and remove that thing. And I think, for one, there isn't at least compelling evidence that sex work or porn or any of these things are harmful enough that we should try to do that, especially if we compare it to other things that we allow. And also the times that people have tried to come in and restrict those things haven't shown to be very successful.
Let's start with that. Look at that.
Okay. And apologies for any coughing. I've had a cough for 3 weeks and it still isn't going away. But anyways, thanks.
I don't have much to say about what she just said. I don't have much to add.
For your patience with me if I start to cough. I think that sex is an amazing and beautiful thing, and it has a design to it. It has a purpose to it. And
Oh my, holy shit. Oh my god, I just had like a fucking Ratatouille moment. I just had a fucking, okay, hold on. What just happened here? I'll just show you exactly. Holy shit. What she just said like triggered a memory in my fucking brain. Holy fuck. Like, when she said, yeah, hold on. Okay. Wait. Okay, what she just said, man.
Sex is an amazing and beautiful thing, and it has a design to it.
Her saying has a design to it, like, this is me flashing back to every talking point, every fucking like argument I've ever heard in my life about sex work from a conservative or religious zealot. This is literally my real time fucking okay, sorry. All right, let's just keep going. I'm just having flashbacks, man, to like every debate I've ever listened to about sex work from other people.
It has a purpose to it, and I think to ignore that design is to live in an unreality that brings harm to oneself and other people. And sex can do two beautiful things. It can create intimacy and bonding and pleasure, which is amazing between two people, and it can also bring life into the world. And I think there's a ton of social data that shows that when you divorce sex from its meaning and you treat it like it's meaninglessness, but like it has no meaning, a hedonistic view of sex leads to a lot of social ills and harm. It's destructive to the people that behave as if it's meaningless, and it's also destructive to people that are also hit by the consequences of that behavior, like a spouse in a marriage whose partner is using porn and they're deeply unhappy, or the children of that marriage. Or
But wait, if the partner is using porn in the marriage, is that not indicative of there potentially being issues in the marriage already, and not necessarily porn being the linchpin of their like potential like, you know, issues? Like if you're like, what I'm saying is like, if you are watching porn and you're in a marriage, first off, that's probably not really that big of a deal, but and also maybe you consulted with your partner and they're fine with it, but like regardless, that doesn't necessarily mean that there are issues within, you know, the marriage or relationship. You know, I don't think that that's like a causative thing.
Or you know, promoting sex work, leading to sexual behaviors that can bring life into the world, and then you have this life that doesn't have committed parents who are going to raise them and love them. So I think we have to live in reality that sex has meaning, it has consequences, it's a beautiful and powerful thing. And
I don't think the argument is that sex does not have meaning. I think the argument is more so that like sex work specifically doesn't have any widespread like social harm, and that there should be the freedom for those who want to do sex work to do it. I think that's kind of it. But
a society that orders itself.
like you could make like if you want to regulate like every vice that's unhealthy for people and bad for society, then you may as well just outlaw smoking then. We're already syntaxing it, sure, but like at this point, it's bad for society, it's bad for the people consuming it, and it's bad for those around them for secondhand smoke. So why not just outlaw cigarettes? I mean, it's, you know, a similar thing here.
To recognize that meaning is going to be a healthier, happier society, and that's what I want for everyone.
Yeah, I would say that, excuse me, see, I'm the one coughing now. I took it from you.
Sorry.
Sex is a very important thing. I think nearly everybody agrees that sex is something that's really important. But the problem that I have with sex work, and that's a term actually that I don't consider legitimate. Other people want to use it, that's fine. But I don't think that sex work exists any more than friend work exists.
Oh my God, why are we're, okay, man. All right, we're going in. I hate this thing that some people do in debates, and it's usually conservatives I've noticed, but it's not exclusively them, where they go and they say, I don't even like the terms that we're using here, guys. Like, I think it's kind of stupid. Like, they're trying to, like, immediately already reframe the conversation, and, like, it seems to me like such a virtue signal. Like, when we talk about sex work, just use the fucking terms that everybody else uses. Please, like, holy shit. Like, if you disagree with whether or not that's an accurate way of describing what is happening, then that's a separate conversation. But, like, to come off the top here, like, just for simplicity's sake and for the sake of the conversation, just, like, yeah, let's all use the same terminology.
Sex is more than just a biological process or an activity between people. When sex is reduced to hedonistic in its meaning, that sex is an activity that one engages in for pleasure, that does lead to bad things in society. It leads to further degrading sexual acts. Like when we look...
Notice how they, Notice how, like, they keep using the word hedonistic? Obviously, this is an attempt to portray those who engage in sex work or who consume the services of the sex worker as being inherently, like, selfish. The way they describe sex work as being hedonistic is, like, very bizarre. It seems like they're trying to make it seem like that those who are doing sex work and those who consume the services are, like, being inherently selfish and like aggressive in their pursuit of, you know, dopamine or whatever. Yeah. I just don't think the framing is. I don't think that that's an act like a like it seems like a rhetorical trick to, like, make people, like, you know, perceive sex work as being more bad than it actually is.
Popular forms of pornography on the internet based in violence, degradation, scatological urine, feces, rape.
What the fuck is he talking about?
That the human brain is rewired by seeing this kind of stuff. And this isn't just stuff on the margins either.
So if he's saying that your brain is rewired when you watch this stuff, then he needs to, I don't know if it's going to happen in this conversation, but he's going to need to, like, you know, give a medical journal or medical research that shows that the synapses in your brain are like changed, or like the parts of your brain are actually like, you know, changed to some extent on account of consuming like hardcore porn.
To look at what sex work does, if it takes sex and drains it of its meaning to make it hedonistic, we also lose the principles that we need to show that other depraved or disordered forms of sexuality are wrong or bad. I like, Destiny, what you said about video games, but if I had to make a video game analogy, I think most video games are actually good or neutral. There's a few outliers, like let's say they had Call of Duty back in 2009, there was the level No Russian where you could go around and you could shoot innocent people at an airport. And that was very
based.
Very controversial. And most video games are not like that. But if video games were like porn, some of the most popular games that people search for would have degrading acts of violence in it towards, you know, just innocent people, not zombies. And I think people would see that that's very bad for the human person.
Wait, I'm sorry. I can't even keep up with this guy. This guy is working on 3 tiers of IQ higher than me. I just don't even know what the relationship is here.
To degrade themselves in that way. So I am concerned that pornography and prostitution degrade sex from having a very important meaning and expression of love between persons and leads to an exploitation and problem.
Couldn't you just not, like, it's a way of life at the end of the day. If you don't want to like get the services of a prostitute, don't seek them out. Like,
in society, if it's just a hedonistic view. That's my view.
All right, good debate, guys.
Okay. But I do think it's important that to define that. Obviously, like we said, the term sex work is pretty broad here. I would say I define it into pornography and prostitution with a gray area obviously in between. It's kind of hard to determine. But mostly this just involves monetizing the arousal of other people, or the sexual arousal of other people. So you have to be making money, and your intention is to sexually arouse other people or bring them to climax.
Don't know if money has to be a factor. It might be if it's sex work. I could be wrong. Yeah.
Max, you know, obviously if you're engaged in a sex act.
Gotcha. Before we dive into this, I think there's 2 really different ways this conversation would go. We can do both. I think we should decide first. Do we want to talk about sex work through the lens of the teleology of what we think sex ought to be for, or do we want to talk about like the impacts on society first?
I think both should be.
Yeah, but I think
part of
because
the
they're both very,
conversation.
very different arguments. So do we want to focus on the first one of like what sex ought to be, or?
I think we can talk about that because I think the big thing that's dividing us is that it is bad to misuse sex. Sex is a very important thing.
Okay.
And so if one misuses it, this will tend to lead to all kinds of social problems.
There's natural consequences to the misuse or the abuse of sex, and you can live in an unreality and sort of mitigate those natural consequences, but it only goes so far, and there are going to be casualties. And
so, like a question.
That premise is actually true. I agree with that premise. However, the application of that is going to probably be where I differ with Lila here.
As you guys are saying, like porn, like has been so bad for society. What are some of these outcomes you've seen since like the late 90s, early 2000s when the internet?
That's a good question.
You guys are saying porn is now making society worse, when in a lot of ways it seems like since the late 1990s and early 2000s, we have less cases of SA, less child abuse, abortion rates are down like 41%. I'm not saying this is because of porn, but it doesn't seem like porn has turned everyone into these violent. People are having.
So the argument here, from what I can tell. Well, let's let it play out, actually.
Less sex, we have less teen pregnancies, all of that stuff. So what?
Well, I dispute the claim that sexual assault, can we say that, or we just say SA?
That's fine.
Yeah, okay.
That's fine.
I dispute the claim that porn leads directly to a reduction in sexual assault. And we have to be careful.
Well, to be fair, she didn't say that. She actually said, she qualified and said the opposite. She said, I'm not saying it's because of porn. So she already qualified.
To not do after, therefore, because of. That porn becomes more prevalent.
Well, again, she qualified and said it may not be because of porn, but the fact that porn consumption has increased to the extent it has because of the internet, it would stand to reason that we would see an increase in all these different variables that one would think can be attributed to the increase of porn consumption, like these negative variables. Yeah.
What happens after that? If you look at statistics of sexual assault, they have been declining since the 1990s, but since 2012, they have dramatically increased. Anyone who's watching this, just Google rape United States 1990 to 2022, or rape UK. Sorry, rape UK from 2002 to 2022, and you see a dramatic rise. Like in the UK, it's like goes from 60,000 reported cases to 130,000 reported cases from 2012 to 2017. What's driving that?
Wait, can I ask real quick, actually, because I just...
Wait, hold on. Why would if porn consumption was starting to increase during the early 2000s on over the internet, like, why would all of a sudden there be a spike in those years specifically? Because why would the spike be in that year? Why would it not be in 2010? Why would it not be 2009? If it's attributed specifically to porn.
Up, and I noticed that what you said is exactly right. From 1992, they fall until 2012, and then they spike.
They spike.
What happened in 2013? Wasn't 2013 the start of the Me Too movement?
Me Too movement started in 2017 with Alyssa
Was it
Milano.
2017?
Well, yeah,
okay,
Alyssa Milano broke it.
Okay, gotcha.
I thought about that too, that might be. Now, I think that when we talk about what causes things to happen in society, it's rarely ever one thing.
Yeah.
Because people are complex. So, like, why? Also, there's a difficulty in assessing how many rapes occur. Like, it's not as hard to figure out how many murders occur because you just count the dead bodies, or how many cars are stolen. You count the cars that are taken. But many rapes are not prosecuted, or they're not reported, But I think the number of allegations, I do want to hear, Lila, your thoughts on that. We see it going up, but I think that one element that would make sense to see that drive from the 2010s is that online pornography had a huge boost during this time period. That we have Pornhub was started in 2007, and it explodes going through 2012, 2015 on. And if you're wondering, like, the things that I'm concerned about, you look at like Pornhub from 2012 to like 2020, what are the most popular terms being searched? Most popular terms are teen, mom, stepmom. This is not just like your vanilla pornography people are looking for.
True. Sorry, I just, in case NSFW. Let's just take a random year. He's 2012. I see one. I see one in 2015. No, I only see one in 2015 here. Alright, well, let's look, I guess. Okay, this is not giving me a straightforward answer. I see a Quora website. Top terms in 2011. Wait, this is only a year ago. Shit. That's weird. Oh, this is updated. Sorry. Lesbian is really popular, apparently. What is this? Oh, it's like the same thing I just looked. Why is this so difficult to get an answer on? I could see it broken down by country. This is ridiculous. Okay, I see one for 20. Wait. Oh wow, this might not be a reliable source. In 2018, okay. In 2018, the most, in order from most to least, most search term for porn was lesbian by a lot, like a landslide. Japanese, MILF, ebony, hentai, anal, mature, threesome. Teen was pretty far down? This 2018. So, yeah. Lesbian is like super popular, it seems like. Okay, sorry.
I find it suspicious that Pornhub isn't reporting the teen search anymore. So I think that could be a part in there of that further degradation of sexuality during that time period.
I think that's a very significant point that you just raised about Pornhub and the most popular search terms. The reality is child sexual assault material has proliferated in recent years with the rise of more internet spread of pornography and the ease of use of the spread of pornography. Pornography that is violent is increasing. Pornography that involves
child sexual abuse is definitely an issue, I think, for the porn industry. Is it I think it's starting to make some strides in the opposite direction, but it's definitely an issue.
Minors
still an issue. I mean.
So there's that world of that, people involved in that, usually those that have, you can use the word addiction or compulsion around pornography. There's a need for it to be increasingly intense or violent or disordered in the sexual acts that are being portrayed for them to find it fulfilling. And so they have to continue on this porn use journey that they're on, and it leads to many other victims left in the wake of it, like children. But another side of it too is the relational side for people that are trying to make families, because I think civilization is built on families. Families is what we're born into. It's where we find our greatest meaning and worth, how we're formed as kids, how we become good citizens one day, and how we discover love for the first time. And today, around 20% of couples report that they experience conflict because of porn use of one of the partners. This is a significant...
Sorry. 20% the Wheatley Institute. This is also reported by the Institute for Family Studies, which is a .org. The National... Let's see here. This is from the National Library of Medicine. The effect of pornography on sexual response is understudied, particularly among women. A multinational community-based sample of 2,433 women, at least 18 years of age, completed a 42-item opt-in questionnaire collecting information on... Okay, thank you. Historical use of pornography during masturbation. Women using pornography were younger and reported more interest in sex. Pornography frequency differed significantly by menopausal status, sexual orientation, anxiety, depression status, number of sexual partners, and origin of data collection. Frequency of pornography use predicted only lower arousal difficulty and longer orgasmic latencies during partner sex, having no effect on the other outcome variables. Pornography use frequency did not predict overall relationship satisfaction. This is an interesting thing here that's actually directly relevant to the claim that was made in the video just now. Pornography use frequency did not predict overall relationship satisfaction or sexual relationship satisfaction. Overall, more frequent pornography use was generally associated with more favorable sexual response outcomes during masturbation while not affecting most partnered sex parameters. Now, the methodology, we just read it. 2,433 women, 18 years of age, complete. This is only looking at women, by the way. 42-item opt-in questionnaire collecting information on demographics, sexual history, characteristics, use of pornography during masturbation, frequency of pornography use, and sexual response parameters. We also examined how pornography frequency predicted differences in self-reported arousal difficulty. Yeah, got it. We just read that. So, with that all being said, that was what was found there. However, this 20% is being reported by two different places. The Institute, or the Wheatley Institute, is from 2021. While over 70% of men in national sex. Interesting. Okay. Well, we would have to look more into it, but I'm seeing conflicting things.
Significant thing afflicting a lot of relationships, and one of the top-rated things in divorce settlements are the porn use of one of the partners.
There's just no way. There's no way, man. Do I have to look? I'm not going to look up everything. I can't. But when it comes to when it comes to divorce settlements, I don't even know. Maybe I could be wrong.
So it's really damaging, and I think the life experience of many people, I'm sure, are listening to this podcast.
Like, I think like a big reason why people get divorced is because of financial issues or just a loss of feeling for each other. Now you could now this is where an argument can be made, like, why do they not feel for each other anymore? And you can point to porn, but the extent to which porn plays a role in that factor, it's just, I don't know.
Right now, they know people, everyone knows someone who's been hurt by pornography. So it's really pernicious.
I don't think the pleasure of orgasm balances out the cons.
So the data, I'm sure you guys, when you were looking at porn, it's very mixed. The big medical consensus is that like this addiction and all that's not a thing. When it comes to couples, it seems like when the couples are on the same page, that it doesn't lead.
Wait, did she just say that porn addiction isn't really a thing? That certainly can't be true.
To negative impacts, it leads to that when there's one couple.
What do you mean by on the same page?
Like when both, like if like in a couple, if they don't care if the other person watches porn, which is a lot of couples, then it doesn't seem to have these kind of negative.
Do you think that's the majority?
I think it's a lot of people.
Do you think the majority of couples, the wife, the girlfriend doesn't mind?
That's really hard to tell. The majority of people I know, it's like that. Maybe the majority of people he knows, and the majority of people it's the opposite. So I don't know. I do think in general people don't see viewing pornography as like cheating.
That's a good response from her.
Do you think the majority of people think that cheating is wrong, though, or even asking, can I have an open relationship?
Cheating is wrong because it violates your boundaries. But if that's not violating your boundaries, which it's not for a lot of people, then
that's, I guess, true. Yeah, I was gonna say that it violates their trust, but that could be the same thing.
Doesn't seem to be having these negative.
Do you think a majority of wives would think that it's wrong for a husband to even ask if he should be allowed to cheat?
That's not.
To even ask? Wait, what did you say?
Wives would think that it's wrong for a husband to even ask if he should be allowed to cheat.
Well, that kind of boundary would be established ideally prior to the marriage. Like, obviously. Like, if you want to be in a polyamorous relationship, then you probably establish that well ahead of being married, right?
That's not cheating. Is about violating boundaries. But if he asks, is it okay if I watch porn when we're not together? A lot of wives, girlfriends would say yes.
But do you think a lot of the wives and girlfriends saying yes are saying yes because they're really chill about it? It's not a big deal. We don't care. Or they're saying yes because society is telling them you should.
Oh my god. What the fuck? Oh my god. Basically, it's just said, are you are they really, do they really mean it when they say that it's okay? Like, when they're saying yes, do they really mean it, though? Like, what the fuck? What are you supposed to, like, what a dumb thing to ask. There is no way of knowing. You can only go off of what somebody says. If they say it's okay, then you can only go off of that, right? Like, there's no reason to believe that, like, they're lying unless their body language is completely, like, it's just so, yeah, this is so stupid.
What I was saying about the boundaries is it okay for a husband to ask, hey, can we renegotiate these boundaries?
Yeah, of course. It's okay. It's always
so there's nothing wrong with a husband saying, hey, because I think many people, would wives, girlfriends, lots of you would say, no, that's wrong that you would even ask. That's just not okay to do. You don't ask for something like that.
So this is really dumb. So first off, if you're in a marriage, like I already said this, right, but I'll repeat it. When you're in a marriage, ideally, your boundaries and all that shit is going to be established prior to the marriage itself. With that said, when it comes to asking about, like, if you can cheat, like, the whole definition of cheating is that you are doing so under the pretext that your partner is either unaware or that they are aware, but you do it anyway and you violate the boundary specifically. So, like, this is a really stupid question because it doesn't get us any closer to understanding, like, it doesn't get us any closer to, like, unfolding these guys' arguments, right? Destiny's and Jasmine's. Yeah.
Some people, and I think for some people that's not the case. I don't know exactly percentages, but the majority, like, exactly, if I'm talking about, like, people I know, this is all I have, anecdotal evidence, unless there's some study done on this, is a lot of people, like, don't care.
So I think there's a bit of a myth of this idea that, well, if my boundary is that it's okay to share you sexually with someone else, even though we're in a supposedly committed relationship. I think there's a mythology.
Just so you know, I'm gonna head out here in like 5 minutes.
That as long as there's consent between the two adults, then it's okay for one or both to cheat as long as they know and they're okay.
Or-
they're
You're
supposed
using
to
the
be okay
word
with it.
cheat.
Yeah, well,
when
we'll
we're not
just
talking about
finish this.
cheat.
I'm saying
We'll
not
just
have
finish
sexual
this,
fidelity,
yeah.
so have sexual experiences, relationships with
And then we'll finish this video in the next stream. Yeah.
other people, whether
Okay.
that's through a screen or in real life. And there are studies that show, I have one right here that shows that married people who more frequently view porn, even if it's together, even if it's like we're consenting, this is a thing we're doing together, are more likely to experience marital dissatisfaction down the line than couples.
Wait, so is that because of the porn? That's a really important thing to know here, because like just because there's that correlation there doesn't mean it's causation. Yeah, like how was that variable controlled for? Or how were other co-founding variables controlled for?
That do not look at porn together. So pornography has a pernicious effect.
And what are we defining as dissatisfaction there's a lot of things here that,
And on consenting couples who are saying, we're doing this together, it's so
And
great.
that was a longitudinal study based on the social science survey with 2,000 people. It's not just like a correlative effect.
So even if in our minds we rationalize and we live in the unreality of this is not affecting me, I can have this open marriage or I can have this open relationship and my partner can look at porn or have another sexual relationship, it still affects you in the real world, and it still affects your long-term potential for happiness and fidelity, or not just fidelity, but happiness and fulfillment in the relationship. And so we can tell ourselves a theory or a myth of like, hey, it's going to be okay, I'm cool with this, but in reality it doesn't work that way in the long run.
But see, like,
so basically she's saying that you may think that you're okay with it, but in actuality, no, that porn is rotting your brain. Like, if this is the argument they want to present, then they definitely need to present a medical scientific study or something that shows that the brain and the synapses therein are all fucking rewired and shit or whatever. Like, they need to present that, right? They need to supplement their argument here with that.
with a lot of this, I'm not sure if you guys are really frustrated looking up this stuff too, because so many studies conflict when it comes to porn and viewing. And it's like women who view pornography report higher sexual satisfaction when they view it with a partner. In fact, the data on women, a lot of
why would that be, Jasmine? Why would that be?
What do you mean, why would that be?
Well, you just said women report higher satisfaction if the porn is being viewed with a partner, because at least they feel like I'm not being 100% cheated on in this moment.
No,
That's not what she said. Is she hearing voices in her head? That's not what that's okay.
I don't
'Cause I'm
think
doing
that's
it
it.
with
I
them.
think you're just putting your framework on everybody else. Like, I'm a woman too. I don't care if my partner watches porn. It's not just me trying to satisfy him. It's not just me being like, and I think a lot of people, you have to separate being with another partner physically versus porn, because I think the numbers there would be vastly different on who's okay if their partner, when they're not around, is watching porn versus who's okay with them sleeping with another person in real life. I think you're going to get widely different opinions there from girlfriends, wives, women on whether that's okay or not.
I would say when we look at the studies, like for example, in 2023, Engelkamp et al. Published a study in the Journal of Sex and Marital Therapy, and it did a quantitative analysis, and the most common themes among couples where the man views pornography is that the woman is glad that he talked about it openly, but disapproves, or is allowing the husband to look at pornography but does not want to hear about it. So I think you would say that only a minority of women are positively in favor of this. It's either negative or ambivalent.
Well, and I think the point is the longitudinal study you mentioned and I mentioned is that even those that say they're in favor of it and are like watching it as a couple have worse outcomes down the line. And I think that's part of the the point here is that even if you're in a very unique situation, you're making your living doing this thing, right? And so in your mind, of course, it's going to be great. I know you're going to defend it and say it's going to be great. But the reality is even people that are defending it or saying it's fine in my marriage.
Again, she's doing the whole thing about like, even though you say you like it, in actuality, it is affecting you in your mind without you knowing unconsciously, and it is invading every part of your central nervous system, and it is fucking your mind up dramatically, and it's fucking up your relationships, and you're like, yeah.
Marriage down the line don't have the best outcome.
well, you
Also,
guys
to
are-
be fair too, real quick, because you talked about a career, you guys are both ideologically,
Yeah, I was
you
gonna
could
say
never
that.
change your position on this.
That's completely
regardless.
not true. Of course
Aren't you both
So
religious?
if all the studies show that it's good for you, would you
I
say
chose
it's okay?
to be Catholic, and I can choose to reject my faith.
Sure, but if like the research
Wait, is that even... That's debatable. I mean, like, unless she's a born again Christian. Yeah. But, like, most of the time, people who are, like, grow up, or... and this is another assumption I'm going to make here, I could be wrong, but people who grow up in a religious household, which I'm assuming she did, typically will continue on with their faith. I guess it really depends on, like... Well, maybe I'm wrong there, actually. Yeah, I could be wrong with that. Like, for me personally, I grew up in a very Catholic household. But I'm right now I'm an atheist, so yeah.
No one's
but she
forcing
could
me
also,
to be Catholic.
yeah, but
That
she could
was
also
gonna be
change
what I
her
said.
career
Yeah, I
too,
can see.
right?
My point
Yeah.
is that
I'm
even
just
if
saying that, like,
all
we
the
can-
data
we can
showed
change-
that
Guys,
it was-
just one at a time.
We can change our
Okay.
mind on empirical questions about
Mm-hmm.
whether a majority of people feel satisfaction in something. You can't use a social science survey to determine whether something is moral or immoral.
We're
Yeah,
just-
sure.
we're
I was
talking
only
about
pushing back on
outcomes.
the claim that like because it's her job, she has to defend
Well,
it.
I
Because
was
I
more
could just
speaking
easily
to
say,
outcomes though, because what I'm trying to explain here is not. My point here is that you can say, and one can say, I'm comfortable with this, I'm fine with this, it's okay in my marriage or my relationship. But my point is the social data shows that people who are comfortable with open relationships or pornography in their relationship have worse outcomes down the line.
Well, the people have the worst. Who have the worst outcomes when it comes to viewing pornography are people who have moral incongruence with it. That's what. There's been a huge meta-analysis where they looked at the number one determinant or the number one predictor of having bad experiences with porn or quote-unquote porn addiction, which the medical consensus is not a thing, is moral incongruence, and being religious is one of the biggest predictors of that. So I agree, porn is really bad for Catholics.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, that's probably all we can get through for today. Yeah, sorry. We're just gonna have to go, but we'll probably finish this. Oh my god, it's gonna be a while. It can't be. Well, maybe this Saturday. I don't know. We'll see how much time I have. Oh yeah. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. Yeah, I can stream this Saturday. I can finish this on Saturday. I'm so dumb. I just remembered that I have time. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, but yes, I'll finish this on Saturday, and then that will be that. And you know what? I can even stream for a pretty long time on Saturday. All right. Well, that's about it. I will see you guys.